In this next bit, we're going to now make the collisions between the bullet and the meteorite and the bullet and the spaceman, because just being able to fly and twist and shoot bullets is okay, but there is no sort of reward, or there's no negative consequences if you shoot something you're not supposed to, and that's the point of the game. So we'll add in our next level, which is to make something have a consequence. So we'll create a new sprite, and this sprite is going to be an animation of an exploding meteorite. So we'll call this one sprite meteorite explode. This is also going to be created from a strip. So we've got this meteorite from strip. We can see that it is 6, so that must be 6 sub-images. And the width and the height of these, we'll try 100 by 100 just to see what happens. And that's too large, we can tell that. So we'll bring it down and test 64 for the width by 64 for the height, and that looks just about right. Here we can see the preview of what it will look like when it's actually running through its animation sequence. And once we've created that, by the way, it should just be at 0, 0 with the point of origin 0, 0, because that's how we created the regular meteorite, and so we want this one to appear exactly on top of the regular meteorite when it explodes, and we have to make sure they have the same point of origin. But we will leave it transparent. We also need to have a sound that's going to go with this, the explosion sound. So we create a new sound. This will be SND explode. And in your resources folder, you should have that. So if we go to the Final Frontier resources folder, and meteorite explode wave file. We can play that for a test. And now we will create an exploding meteorite object. So this is going to be obj meteorite explode, and it will have the sprite. That's the exploding meteorite. See how it's good to have good naming conventions so we know what it is. This will have a depth of 0 so that it's on top of the regular one. And then we need to add it to its create event that it is going to play the sound of the explosion. So basically what will happen is when the bullet strikes the regular meteorite, it will create an instance of this meteorite, and that will cause it on create to play as its exploding sound. The next thing that we're going to do into that same create event is we're going to add a score. We're going to set the score, and we're going to set it so that you get 20 points for blowing up a meteorite. Now again, it's important that we tick the relative, because what that will mean is relative to the previous score. So if the previous score were 100, the new score will be 120. If we don't have that ticked, it'll just keep setting the new score to 20 over and over and over again, and the player is going to get frustrated because no matter how many meteorites they shoot, they're only going to get 20. So by ticking relative, that says add 20 more, or add 20 relative to the previous score. The other thing we need to do is add an event other an animation, and I'll explain that in a minute. So at the end of the animation, what do we want it to do? Well, we'll want it to destroy the instance, and that will be of itself. So if you think about it, what will happen is at the end of its 6 frames, so after it's gone through its explosion sequence, it will then destroy the instance of itself so that we don't have a meteorite explosion that keeps going on and on and on. Right now, nothing will happen because nothing is triggering the create event of the actual exploding meteorite. So this is where we have to create a collision between the bullet and the regular meteorite. So if we go back into our bullet and we add a collision event, so when it collides with just the regular meteorite, then what we're going to do is create an instance of the exploding meteorite, and that is going to be at 0, 0 relative again, so that it actually puts the exploding meteorite relative to where the bullet has struck the meteorite instead of at 0, 0 in the top corner. And we also need to have it destroy 2 things. So this is the bullet. It's going to destroy an instance of itself. So once it runs into the meteorite, then it's destroyed. And we also need it to destroy the other. So it's going to, in effect, destroy itself, destroy the regular meteorite, and it will also create an instance of the exploding one all at the same time. So create the explosion, the exploding meteorite, destroy the bullet, destroy the old meteorite. And that will happen before your eyes can see what is going on. It will happen so quickly that to you it'll just appear to be an explosion. So we'll test that out. It's going to test my shooting ability. And you can see I got 1. And if you also look up here, after I have 2, it set the score to 40. All right, we're going to also make our collision between the bullet and the spaceman. So we need a new sprite, and I've named this one SPR Spaceman Explode. And this one needs to be loaded from a sprite strip. So if we do create from strip, we'll have this Spaceman Exploding PNG, and it's a 6 strip. It's six images, 6 per row, and we'll look at the height and width. It's not 64, 48, looks a little bit small, 50 by 50, and that's the right height and width. And we won't center this one because our regular spaceman isn't centered. Then we need to create the object that goes along with that. So this is going to be object spaceman explode. And what we'll do with him is at the create event, he also is going to play a sound. This sound, oh, I didn't put the sound in, sorry. We have to go back and make our other sound. So I'll go here, create a new sound, sound spaceman explode. And we need to load that. And we've got the spaceman arg wave. We can test that. So that's what he's going to say when he gets hit. So on create, we need it to play a sound, and that will be the spaceman exploding. And the other thing I didn't go over before was looping false. You can have it to true, which means it'll go over and over again. This will just play once, and that's all that's appropriate for having a collision. Now, when the animation ends on this one, we want it to have something slightly different. So we want it to play a message. So on this one, on the scoring tab, oh no, it's on main tab, we want it to display a message, and this can say something like, oh no, you have destroyed your spaceman. Game over. Because that's what will happen. And the next thing we want it to do is restart. And so it will restart the game. So it'll display that message, and then it will restart the game. The next step is on the bullet, then we're going to have another collision. So on the bullet, add a collision. If it collides with the object spaceman, sorry, click the wrong thing. So if it collides with the spaceman, what do we want to happen? Well, the first thing that we need to happen is it needs to create an instance of the exploding spaceman at 0, 0 relative. So relative to where the bullet hit the regular spaceman. And we need it to do those destroy instances. So it's going to destroy the instance of self, meaning destroy the bullet. And it will also destroy the instance of the other thing that it collided with, which is the spaceman itself. So then we can test this out. So now we should be able to shoot our meteorites, which is a good thing. I'll wait for it to get a little bit farther away. And I shoot that. Oh no, you've destroyed your spaceman. Game over. and it starts again.